MS, Emma, are you sure you want to cancel the wedding? It took you a year to book this venue. If you cancel now, you'll have to wait at least 2 years to rebook. Why don't you go back and discuss it with Mr. Hayes? Emma's face was pale, but she nodded decisively. There's no need to discuss it, just cancel it. She had just undergone surgery. As the anesthesia wore off, a dull pain radiated from her lower abdomen, spreading through her entire body. It hurt so much she could barely speak. Yet, despite the pain, the first thing she did upon waking was call to cancel their wedding. After all, if she didn't cancel it, having 2 weddings with the same groom would turn into a massive joke. The receptionist on the phone hesitated, but adhering to the principle that the customer is always right, she processed the cancellation for Emma. Less than a minute later, a confirmation text arrived on Emma's phone. Watching a year's worth of effort turn to ash, Emma surprisingly felt no heartache, only a sense of relief and liberation. Please keep this confidential. Don't even tell Daniel Hayes. The staff member agreed repeatedly but muttered inwardly. Just last month for Emma's birthday, Daniel had spent a fortune setting off fireworks all night in the city, an event so grand it broke social media records. At the time, everyone marveled that after 5 years, Daniel and Emma were still so in love, living up to their reputation as the perfect couple. How could they have reached the point of canceling the wedding in less than a month? Emma hung up the phone. Just as she was about to buy a plane ticket, the door to her hospital room was pushed open. Daniel had just rushed back from an international conference. Before he could even change out of his wrinkled suit, he hurried over, hugging Emma and apologizing in a low, coaxing voice. Emma, I'm so sorry, I'm late. How are you? Does it still hurt? I was only gone for 2 days. Why are you suddenly in the hospital? What did the doctor say was wrong? Emma was held tight in his embrace, barely able to breathe from the moment he entered. Just as she was about to speak, a faint scent drifted into her nose. It was the exact same perfume she had once smelled on another woman. Emma suddenly felt nauseous. His international conference was likely just sleeping with someone else, wasn't it? At this thought, she violently broke free from Daniel's arms, clutching the bed rail as she retched dryly. Daniel froze for a moment, then rushed to rub her back, his beautiful eyes filled with concern and excitement. Emma, are you pregnant? Emma caught her breath and suddenly moved away from him. No, my stomach has just been acting up lately. Really? Daniel looked unconvinced. He was about to speak when his phone rang. Seeing the caller ID, Daniel instantly swallowed his questions, the corners of his mouth lifting into a smile, but he didn't reply to the message. Instead, he immediately turned off his phone and began nuzzling Emma like a clingy golden retriever, forgetting his earlier suspicion. Emma, I've sent out all the wedding invitations. We'll be married soon. Let's have a boy first. Okay, well, raise him well so I can retire early and spend every day with you. Daniel rambled on, not noticing the blood draining from Emma's face. Meanwhile, the TV was playing Ella's first exclusive interview since returning to the country. Half a month ago, Ella had abandoned her acting career in the US and resolutely returned home, immediately announcing the happy news of her upcoming marriage. In the interview, Ella spoke sweetly about her fiancé. We were each other's first love. We separated for a long time because we were young and immature, but I never expected that a while ago he would suddenly appear in the US holding a bouquet of flowers, just to wish me a happy Valentine's Day. Perhaps he is watching this interview right now. I want to tell him, whether in the past or now, I still love you, until death do us part. Ella looked at the camera with eyes full of love, as if gazing at her beloved man through the screen. The interview ended abruptly as Daniel grabbed the remote and changed the channel. It's all fake. These entertainment types just love creating personas, Daniel said, touching his nose and tossing the remote aside. Who wants to hear their love story? It's not as good as ours. Childhood sweethearts, deep affection, we were born to be together. Daniel probably didn't realize that since childhood, he had a habit. Whenever he lied, he would instinctively touch his nose. Emma didn't expose him. She just felt her heart grow a few degrees colder. A month ago, Daniel had gone on a business trip. The destination was the United States, and the first love Ella had been separated from for 5 years was Emma's fiancé, Daniel. Daniel stayed with Emma for a long time, chattering incessantly about the wedding, clearly very invested in it. It wasn't until he received a call from his company that he reluctantly left. He planted a kiss on Emma's cheek and said, Emma, we are going to be so happy. Emma forced the corners of her mouth up and returned a smile. She had believed that sentence for 5 years. Over these 5 years, they had traveled the world together, leaving beautiful memories across the globe. For every anniversary, Daniel gave thoughtful gifts. He was so generous that he had even designed a villa as their marital home based entirely on her preferences. 2 years ago, when she fainted after a minor car accident, Daniel took care of her sleeplessly in the hospital, insisting on donating blood to her despite the risk to his own health, because he had said his life belonged to Emma. When Emma woke up, the first thing she saw was Daniel's eyes, swollen from crying. From that moment on, Emma decided she would never let down this man who saw only her. But as time passed, the person who first said he loved her was no longer waiting where he used to be. Watching Daniel's retreating back disappear, Emma finally snapped back to reality. She pulled out her 4-needle and went to process her discharge. The doctor prescribed some medication and instructed her to avoid intercourse for the near future, advising her to recover fully before trying for a child. Emma nodded absently, focused on scrolling through flight information on her phone. Before she could click purchase, today's news headlines popped up. After the interview, Ella had updated her social media. It was a photo of her with a man. The man's face wasn't shown, only his muscular chest and an ambiguous hickey on his neck. A certain puppy ran over excitedly after seeing my confession on TV. Too bad someone is shy and doesn't want to be on camera. Otherwise I could show everyone his handsome face. But don't worry, once our wedding comes, we won't disappoint you. Below this post, a comment from an anonymous account was pinned to the top. The photo was a close-up of him holding Ella's hand, featuring a dazzling diamond ring worth millions. The caption read, "Can't wait to marry you." Seeing this, Emma felt a sudden stab in her heart, but she forced herself to calm down, confirmed the flight details, and decisively clicked purchase. With that done, there was one last important thing to do. Emma took a taxi to the Hayes family cemetery. Her parents had been servants of the Hayes family over a decade ago. To save Daniel, who had fallen into the water, the couple both drowned. Grandfather Hayes, grateful for their loyalty, decided to bury them in the Hayes family plot and gave their orphan daughter the best possible care. Emma placed a bouquet of chrysanthemums before the tombstone. "Mom, Dad, you told me since I was little that Daniel was a good boy, that in the entire Hayes family, only he could protect me. But why? Why is he the one who hurts me the deepest? He clearly said the person he loved most was me, so why did he cheat? Mom, Dad, I have nothing left." As she spoke, Emma couldn't control her tears. She suddenly remembered when her parents had just passed away. She was so grief-stricken she couldn't sleep for days and ran high fevers. Daniel, guilty and heartbroken, stayed by Emma's bedside every night, telling her, "I'm sorry, Emma, I'm the one who should have died. Emma, please get better. You are their only remaining family. I'll protect you from now on. Okay, Emma, I am your family. My life is yours." From then on, Daniel took on the role of her brother, and in the early summer after graduating from college, he took her hand and swore to give her a beautiful future. At first, Emma trusted him implicitly, but gradually, Daniel changed. The first time she noticed something was wrong was on the day she tried on her wedding dress. In the car, Daniel rejected countless calls, eventually turning his phone off entirely. Daniel sheepishly explained to Emma, "It's the assistant from the office, bothering me with trivial matters. I'll scold him properly when we get back." Emma was gentle. She comforted Daniel before going to try on the dress. A year ago, Daniel had spent a fortune commissioning a custom gown from abroad. Emma looked noble and divine in it, but when the curtain opened, Daniel wasn't there. The fitting area had been booked out for them, so it should have been empty. Emma couldn't get through to Daniel's phone. Puzzled, she wandered around the building until she looked into a corner and froze. Not far away, Daniel was holding a woman's hand, humbly begging for something. The woman seemed agitated, repeatedly throwing off Daniel's hand. Daniel then pulled the woman into his arms and leaned in. The two kissed passionately in the corner of the bridal shop. Emma watched this scene in disbelief. She felt like an octopus being roasted. No amount of clawing at her heart could relieve the pain. Daniel, who had said he loved her more than life itself, was cheating. Emma pressed her hand firmly against her chest, gasping for air as large tears rolled down. When Daniel returned, Emma had composed herself. Daniel didn't notice anything wrong. Seeing her in the dress, his heart stirred. He walked over and held Emma tightly in his arms. "Emma, you are so beautiful." Daniel buried his head in Emma's shoulder, gently kissing her earlobe, his voice utterly seductive. "My Emma is the most beautiful bride. I want to take you right here." Looking at their intimate reflection in the mirror, Emma's eyes were filled with sorrow. Is she really beautiful? If so, why did Daniel cheat? Why lie to her? She didn't know why things had suddenly turned out this way, how long Daniel had hidden it, or who that woman was. Just as she was about to speak, tears slipped out involuntarily. Daniel panicked. He quickly reached out to wipe the tears from her face, cupping her cheeks to comfort her. "What's wrong? Emma, don't cry. Tell hubby what's wrong." "Okay." Daniel's eyes were full of heartache, without a trace of fakery. His acting was so exquisite. You couldn't tell at all that just 10 minutes ago he was holding another woman. Emma tried hard to control her emotions. "It's nothing. I just feel too happy." Daniel breathed a sigh of relief. He immediately wiped her tears dry, coaxing her again and again until she finally calmed down. Before leaving, she claimed she forgot something and went back to the fitting room. Finding a staff member, Emma showed the photo she had secretly taken. "This is Ms. Ella. She is also preparing for a wedding," the staff member said, seemingly recalling something. Pointing to another couture gown in the shop, she added, "It's quite a coincidence. Ms. Ella's dress is from the same brand as yours. Similar style too. Even her fiancé's surname is Hayes." Like a bolt of lightning, Emma's face went white. On the way home, Daniel looked at Emma with concern. After thinking for a long time, he summoned the courage to ask, "Emma, why are you unhappy?" Emma slowly turned her face to meet Daniel's eyes. "Because today, I saw something I shouldn't have." Hearing this, a shadow passed through Daniel's eyes, and his expression became unnatural. "Really? What did you see?" Emma stared at Daniel. After a moment, she tentatively said, "I saw someone who looked very much like you holding another girl's hand while trying on wedding dresses." "How is that possible?" Daniel denied it instantly. "You definitely saw wrong. While you were trying on the dress, I was waiting outside the whole time. I only went to the restroom for 10 minutes. The staff saw me." "How could that be me?" Emma looked at him. He raised his hand to swear. "If I ever betray you, may I be struck by lightning." Daniel was too convincing. Emma truly wished she had seen wrong, but she had loved Daniel for so long. She could draw his face with her eyes closed. How could she mistake him? For a moment, Emma felt only a stinging pain in her heart. So there really are people who can split their hearts in two, dealing with two people every day, telling countless lies until they believe them themselves. "I believe you," Emma said. "I believe you wouldn't betray me." After the fitting, there was a gathering with Daniel's friends. When the two arrived, the friends had already played around. Seeing Emma and Daniel walking in hand, everyone gathered around. Emma wasn't very close to them. After smiling and exchanging a few pleasantries, she found a corner on the second floor and sat quietly. After a while, a noise came from the stairwell. "Daniel, are you really planning to dump Ella and marry that orphan of yours?" Emma recognized the voice. It was one of Daniel's high school classmates. Emma didn't want to eavesdrop, but finding herself the topic of conversation, she suddenly stopped to listen. "What are you saying?" "Of course Ella is the important one." "Ella." Emma suddenly remembered hearing from the servants that a big star had returned to the country. That star was Ella. "Then what are you doing now? You bring her to every gathering. Did you forget you promised Ella there wouldn't be other women around you?" "Stop talking about it." Daniel sounded complaining. "Emma is just a little plaything to me. I love Ella the most, but grandfather said I must marry Emma and produce an heir, otherwise I won't get the Hayes family fortune. And I can't be with Ella. I have to pretend to love her all day long. It's annoying." The friend sounded suspicious. "Is it really just that? Don't you think you're treating Emma a little too well? Don't accidentally fall for her while pretending." Daniel was silent for a moment, then replied casually, "What choice do I have? Her parents are dead, and she's starved for love. After all, Emma loves me. If I treat her a little better now, she'll be easier to coax when the truth comes out." Emma's face stiffened for a second, and she couldn't stop shaking. She didn't know what else they said, but suddenly Daniel laughed wickedly. "Emma is like a dog in front of me. She comes whenever I wave. Don't worry, I won't screw this up." Clang! The drink in Emma's hand nearly fell, but she caught it just in time. Hearing footsteps approaching from downstairs, Emma grabbed her drink and fled the scene before they could come up. She was wrong. Daniel hadn't split his heart in two. From beginning to end, his heart only held Ella. Emma threw the drink into the trash can, leaning against the wall and gasping for air, hoping to relieve the chaotic knot in her chest. Daniel was right. She used to be like a dog, coming and going at his command. She clutched her racing heart. A layer of mist covered her eyes. She rejoiced that after this sudden awakening, she hadn't treated herself like an object in front of Daniel. Emma wiped her tears dry and walked back as if nothing had happened. Emma didn't know how she left that place. She only felt her heart being torn into pieces again. She knew one thing. There was absolutely no possibility for her and Daniel anymore. She would never forgive him. Every time she recalled that day, it felt like undergoing a slow execution. But perhaps because so many days had passed, she was becoming immune. At least she didn't cry until she nearly fainted like she did back then. Later, she secretly investigated Ella and found out she was his first love. Over the years, neither had forgotten the other. Every year before Valentine's Day, Daniel would go on a business trip, essentially traveling across the ocean for love, just to maintain that connection with Ella. As for why Ella suddenly returned, it was because she was pregnant. Emma's first interaction with Ella was receiving an anonymous text message. It contained a sentence and a pregnancy ultrasound report. The patient was Ella, and the date was a week ago. Emma, you lose. 3 words that drained the color from Emma's face. Since then, that strange number updated her almost daily on Ella's life. The man standing beside her was always Daniel. 2 days ago, the number sent a new video message. It was a video of Daniel kissing her passionately. Ella didn't hide her ambition at all, sending a voice note to mock her. Daniel says you're like a corpse in bed, not even worth one of my toes. You think your position as Mrs. Hayes is secure. In front of me, you are nothing. Looking at this message, Emma became so agitated she missed a step on the stairs and fell straight down. The child that had been taking root in her body for just over a month turned into a pool of blood and left her. Tragically, the miscarriage wasn't clean. She had to lie alone on a hospital bed, letting the doctor use cold instruments to completely peel the gestational sac from her uterus, flushing that mass of flesh and blood down the drain. When she woke up, her heart was dead ash. She cancelled the wedding she had looked forward to for so long. Since Ella returned, everything they did was like a knife stabbing into Emma's heart, again and again, drawing blood every time. Emma's love was finally exhausted, standing in front of the graves for a long time, until her legs were numb. She finally wiped her dry tears and made a call to have her parents' graves moved. Mom, Dad, I'm taking you home. From now on, we will never have anything to do with the Hayes family again. She returned to her hometown with the relocation team and stayed in the countryside alone for 5 full days. During this time, Daniel called her many times, asking sweetly where she was and why she hadn't come back yet. At first, Emma brushed him off with a few simple sentences. This time, Daniel didn't give her a chance to hang up and switched directly to a video call. Emma, do you think we should make our wedding even grander? Daniel smiled, his voice gentle to the extreme. The thought of marrying you in a few days excites me so much I can't sleep. Emma pulled the corners of her lips, wanting to tell him to stop acting. Aren't you tired of pretending for so long? But she couldn't ask. After all, over these years, she had truly loved Daniel. Emma, why are you spacing out again? Daniel was dissatisfied. Is there something better looking than me? Emma snapped back to reality and quickly looked at Daniel on the screen. The decor behind him was unfamiliar. He definitely wasn't at home. Emma hesitated for a moment before replying. I'm at a pottery workshop upstate, preparing a wedding gift for you. Surprise burst into Daniel's eyes, and his smile grew brighter. Long ago, they had huddled in bed watching videos. Daniel, holding Emma, watched couples going to pottery workshops to make custom household items and promised they would find time to join in the fun too. Why did you go by yourself? Daniel feigned dissatisfaction. The screen shook as he grabbed his coat and started walking. Wait there. I'm coming to find you. Emma stopped him. No need. I'm coming back tomorrow. Hearing this, Daniel frowned, acting as if he had suffered a great grievance. You're rejecting me. No, I just don't want you to see the gift I prepared for you ahead of time. It would ruin the surprise. Daniel's brow smoothed out, and he said arrogantly, Fine, I'll forgive you this once. Daniel blew a kiss to the screen. I'll be waiting for your surprise. Emma smiled, subtly signing her name on the immigration application, hoping this surprise would be enough for Daniel. Emma returned to the city. She had already submitted the relevant materials to the agency and paid for expedited processing. The agent replied that he could cancel her domestic registration and arrange a new identity abroad with permanent residency. If she was willing, the process could be completed within 3 days. 3 days later was exactly the date of their scheduled wedding. Emma decisively transferred the money to the agent, gathered her composure, and prepared to pack everything up while Daniel was away. To her surprise, the first person she saw when she opened the door was Ella. As 2 pairs of almost identical eyes met in the air, Emma wanted to flee immediately, but her gaze inadvertently slid down to see Ella's attire. In Emma and Daniel's home, Ella was wearing only a green slip dress. Her freshly washed hair hung loose, wet and dripping water onto the floor. Ella reacted first, casually drying her hair and smiling. Hello, I'm Ella. She showed no guilt for intruding on someone else's territory, even adding provocatively, Your eyes look a lot like mine. If it were the old days, when Emma thought Daniel still loved her, she would have snapped back without hesitation. But now, Emma just smiled and agreed with Ella. They do look quite alike. Ella raised an eyebrow, looking incredulously at the delicate girl in front of her. She had sent Emma many messages recently, all about Daniel, including all sorts of intimate photos. Unfortunately, Emma hadn't replied to a single one. What she didn't know was that on those nights, Emma wept over those photos. Daniel was very cooperative in Ella's pictures. A casual snap looked like a fashion editorial, yet Emma remembered he hated being on camera. So, in 5 years together, they didn't even have a single photo together. Just then, Daniel walked out of the bedroom. Seeing Emma, he instantly tensed up. "Emma, why are you back so suddenly?" Daniel ran over to grab Emma's hand and explain. "Don't misunderstand. Ella is my good buddy's fiancée. She's filming nearby, and the hot water system at her hotel broke, so she came here to wash up temporarily." Hearing this explanation, Ella looked unhappy. Her eyes filled with resentment as she stared daggers at Emma. Emma ignored her predatory gaze, finding Daniel's concealment increasingly hilarious. Her eyes darted between Daniel and Ella. After a while, she said, "Miss Ella, I heard you're getting married soon too. Congratulations." Emma held Daniel's hand and said sweetly, "Since you two are good friends, why would I overthink your relationship? How about this one, Miss Ella gets married? I'll go with you. I'll definitely give Miss Ella a big red envelope." After Emma finished speaking, she noticed Daniel's face was terribly awkward, as if he wanted to speak but stopped. She pretended not to see it, smiling brightly at Daniel and Ella. Ella naturally guessed that Emma said this on purpose and began to show off with a blissful face. "I'd certainly welcome you to my wedding. You have no idea how much my fiancé values this wedding. The dress is haute couture. The makeup team is a top international brand. Knowing I like lilies of the valley, he booked an entire greenhouse just to provide the freshest flowers on the day." Listening to her sweet words, Emma felt hollow. For her own wedding, she had been doing almost all the work. Daniel was always busy, and whenever Emma complained, he had a smooth answer. "You're the bride, so everything should be to your taste. Whatever you like, I will definitely like." Now it seemed he wasn't busy, he just didn't care. The specific date isn't set yet. He still has to deal with the woman his family forced on him, but he promised that once he deals with her, he will marry me and make me the happiest bride. Emma couldn't even fake a smile this time. She stood frozen until Daniel finally noticed something was wrong and quickly stopped Ella. "You're starting work soon, aren't you going back?" Ella's expression changed. She huffed and went into the bathroom to change. Before leaving, she didn't forget to mock, "Miss Emma, don't take it to heart. Everyone expresses love differently. It just so happens my fiancé loves me especially much, so he's willing to give me all his time and money." With that, Ella stormed out, leaving the two in silence. Daniel looked a bit panicked. He took Emma's hand and kissed it. "Emma, listen to my explanation." "No need to explain." Emma stopped him in time. "Everyone does express love differently. I know you're busy and don't have time for me, but I know." Emma paused, enduring the excruciating pain to continue. "But I know you love me. It's just a pity you love her more." Emma didn't say this out loud. She just stared at Daniel's face, tears unconsciously leaking out. Daniel heartbrokenly pulled her into his arms, coaxing her as always. "Wait until we get married." A complicated emotion flashed in Daniel's eyes. "Wait until we get married, and everything will be better." "Will it really be better, Daniel?" Emma asked silently. "I gave you so many chances. I lived in the illusion you wove for so many years." This time, she would never trust Daniel's love again. The night before the wedding, the agent sent all the electronic documents to Emma. At that moment, Daniel was hugging Emma from behind, pestering her about having a baby, insisting it must be a boy. Seeing the foreign language text pop up, Daniel frowned. "What is this?" Emma calmly turned off the screen and explained casually, "Some foreign poems. In preparing my wedding vows for tomorrow." Hearing this, Daniel relaxed. He pulled her into his arms and smiled. "Wifey, you love me so much." Daniel picked her up in his arms, placed her gently on the bed, and hovered over her. "You have to love me this much in the future too." "Okay." Emma looked into his eyes and asked, "What if I have a change of heart?" "You won't." Daniel kissed her eyes. "And neither will I. We said it before, whoever changes their heart first gets struck by lightning." Hearing this, Emma smiled. She rarely touched Daniel's head, but she did so now, saying, "Yes, struck by lightning." Inexplicably, Daniel felt a flash of panic, subconsciously feeling that Emma had discovered something, but it didn't matter. He just needed to endure a little longer. Once he was married, and once Ella's baby was born, he would bring it over and pretend it was his and Emma's. Once he inherited everything from the Hayes family, he could legitimately do whatever he wanted. But why, when it really came to this step, did he feel a heartache? Neither spoke again. For the first time, they slept in the most intimate position yet harbored their own secrets. Saying nothing, just as they were about to fall asleep, Daniel hurriedly took a call and left. Emma opened her eyes in the dark, looking at his back. Daniel, where are you going? Daniel's footsteps paused. He looked conflicted, but finally decided to lie. Urgent company business. I have to go solve it. Will you come back? Daniel's heart skipped a beat. I will definitely come back. Wait for me. Okay. With that, Daniel rushed out the door. Emma sat on the bed, waiting from midnight until 3 a.m. Daniel didn't come home. As expected, Emma received many photos from Ella showing off. Emma wasn't surprised at all. She gathered everything Daniel had given her, moved it to the balcony, and prepared to burn it all. The pile included letters, jewelry, property deeds, car titles, and her own ID documents. Looking at all this, Emma's lips trembled slightly, her eyes revealing confusion and helplessness. She suddenly remembered that early summer 5 years ago, when Daniel confessed to her. He gave her a solemn promise: born in the summer, dying in the summer. Daniel and Emma would be together for all their lives. Emma pulled a cold smile and clicked the lighter. As the flames consumed everything, the promises of their youth disappeared too. The next morning, Emma stood at the airport entrance with all the documents prepared by the agent. Emma was taking the earliest international flight to Finland, abandoning her original plan to go to the UK. She hadn't contacted the makeup team, nor even picked up her wedding dress. Ironically, everyone, including Daniel, thought she was getting dolled up, preparing to be the most beautiful bride. Before boarding, Emma received a call from Daniel. Emma, the issue at the company isn't resolved yet. The wedding will be delayed just a little bit. Will you wait for me? Daniel sounded nervous and rushed. Emma looked at the message Ella sent half an hour ago and curled her lips. Go ahead. I'll always wait for you. Emma's tone was gentle, even encouraging. Finally, she added, by the way, I left the wedding gift I made for you at home. Remember to pick it up. Yes ma'am, wifey. Daniel happily kissed the phone and hung up immediately. This time, Emma applied online to cancel her phone number, pulled out the SIM card, threw it into the airport trash can, dragged her luggage, and formally bid farewell to the place where she had lived for 28 years. At the same time, Daniel was comforting Ella. Last night, she used suicide as an excuse to trick Daniel into coming to her, just as she wanted to get intimate. Daniel pushed her away. As long as you're safe, I have to go back now. For some reason, he felt uneasy, sensing he was about to lose something instantly. You're marrying her tomorrow, then I'll be the mistress. Can't you compensate me tonight? I can compensate you, but not today. Daniel's voice was deep, something Ella had never heard before. She pitifully pulled at Daniel's coat. The baby and I are willing to wait so long for you. What's wrong with her waiting a little? Saying this, Ella tried to kiss him. Daniel frowned, turning his head to dodge the kiss. Stop messing around. I'll come to find you after I'm done. Ella refused, crying and begging him, taking off her clothes in front of him to reveal the lingerie underneath. Faced with a beauty, Daniel succumbed once again. He had planned to stay only a few hours, but he fell asleep and almost missed the wedding. After waking up, Daniel hurriedly got ready and called Emma to explain. Emma didn't blame him and said she would wait for him forever. Daniel felt oddly moved and rushed non-stop to the wedding venue. Unfortunately, before he arrived, he received a call from his best friend while in the car. Damn it, Daniel, where the hell are you? His friend screamed on the phone. The staff said your wedding was cancelled 2 weeks ago. What wedding are you talking about? Impossible. Daniel panicked, realizing something. He hung up and dialed Emma, but this time, the number that was always open to him was disconnected. Daniel froze in the car, feeling as if his soul had been sucked out. Overhead, a plane cut through the clouds, leaving trail after trail, but Emma had left him nothing. In the town of Porvoo, Finland, Emma held 2-year-old Vanessa's hand as they went to make pottery. The little girl could walk independently and played happily in a pile of clay, kneading a lump and handing it to Emma. Mommy, clay. Emma smiled, pulled her over for a kiss, and explained, Vanessa, I'm not actually your mommy. The child frowned, automatically ignoring Emma's explanation, and continued calling her mommy. Emma laughed and patted her head. Vanessa was a child she found when she first arrived in Finland. The child's parents had committed suicide by jumping into a lake after an argument. Emma, alone in Finland, thought of her own unborn child that night. The next day, she decided to apply to the state to adopt Vanessa. After finishing the pottery, Mother and daughter walked home hand in hand. Emma opened her phone and saw news sent by a friend back in China. Hayes family heir Daniel Hayes passed out drunk on the street again. Chairman Hayes scolds grandson in public. Half a year later, seeing Daniel's name, Emma's heart still skipped a beat naturally. Her friend sent a voice message. Listen, Daniel was calling your name when he was drunk. Right. No, you heard wrong. Emma didn't even open the video, replying indifferently. Sensing Emma didn't want to discuss this, the friend didn't reply further. Emma frowned, thought for a moment, and decided to delete the friend from her contacts. 2 months ago, Emma still had some unfinished business in China, so she reactivated her messaging app and asked a friend for help. This friend, seeing Emma online, would often send things related to Daniel. This allowed Emma, despite being thousands of miles away, to see how Daniel lost his composure after she left. 6 months ago, after learning the wedding was cancelled, Daniel refused to give up. He sent people to look for Emma while forcibly detaining hundreds of guests, just to attend their wedding. But wave after wave of bodyguards turned the city upside down and found no trace of Emma. It was as if Emma had vanished into thin air. No one could find her. Daniel gritted his teeth and went to look personally, but the villa they had lived in together was empty. Where was her shadow? Daniel was shaken to the core, nearly losing his balance. Just then, the doorbell rang. Emma, is that you? Daniel rushed out excitedly. I knew you wouldn't leave me. But before he could finish, his voice stopped abruptly, and he froze. The visitor wasn't Emma, but a delivery man in a uniform. He held a small box and presented it to Daniel. Hello, this is a package from Ms. Emma for Mr. Hayes. Is Mr. Hayes in? It was something Emma sent him. Daniel shouted happily. I am. Daniel got excited. He suddenly remembered Emma said she would make him a wedding gift. Thinking of this, Daniel quickly opened the box. A flawless white porcelain figure appeared before Daniel. The porcelain figure looked exactly like him. His hands trembling, he peeled away the packaging layer by layer. You obviously love me so much. Daniel comforted himself over and over until he saw the full appearance of the porcelain figure. The head was exquisitely made, but a lightning bolt shape cut horizontally across the lower body. The upper and lower parts of the figure were held together only by that bolt, looking as if it had been struck by lightning. Whoever betrays first will be struck by lightning. Daniel suddenly remembered the vow they once made. Unable to accept it, he stumbled back a few steps, his hand went limp, and the porcelain smashed onto the ground, shattering into pieces. Who could tell him when Emma discovered he was cheating? Daniel was going mad. Why had things turned out this way? At the same time Emma fled the wedding, another piece of news exploded online. Popular actress Ella was secretly photographed going to the hospital for a prenatal checkup. The innocent sweetheart was pregnant out of wedlock. News of Ella's pregnancy spread quickly. The next day, Grandfather Hayes ordered Daniel to bring Ella back to the family estate to explain. As soon as they entered, Grandfather Hayes struck Daniel's back heavily with his cane, roaring, "You disgrace! Look what you've done!" Grandfather Hayes was furious. With another strike, Daniel's white shirt was instantly stained red. Daniel broke out in a cold sweat from the pain. He had been so busy with Emma running away that he never expected Ella to expose the pregnancy herself to force him to marry her. Daniel was in extreme pain but gritted his teeth and said, Ella said she doesn't want any title. The position of Mrs. Hayes will definitely be Emma's. Emma is just angry with me temporarily. I will definitely bring her back. Shut your mouth. The grandfather raised his cane in rage, but before it could fall, a figure threw herself in front of Daniel. Ella protected Daniel, crying as she looked pleadingly at the old man. Mr. Hayes, I know you insisted Daniel marry Emma to repay a debt of gratitude. He already agreed. I am willing to follow him without any status. Even so, do you have to tear us apart? Ella placed a hand on her abdomen and kowtowed heavily to the old man. Even if you don't want to acknowledge me, what's in my belly is Hayes blood. Can you be cruel enough to reject your own great-grandchild? The successive questions made the old man hesitate. Ella, worthy of being a top actress, delivered a performance full of emotion and skill in just a few sentences. Like watching a play, Grandfather Hayes clearly hesitated, but Daniel frowned. I must bring Emma back. Why? Ella screamed. Don't you not love her, Daniel? Ella held Daniel's hand tightly. If you bring her back, what about me and the baby? Daniel gave her a deep look and said, there is no conflict between you. He couldn't describe what he felt for Emma right now, only that his heart felt hollowed out, empty as if he had lost his soul. And for all these years, Emma loved him so much. He still didn't believe Emma would leave. He didn't believe Emma would completely give him up. Emma will definitely come back, Daniel thought. Even if she doesn't come back on her own, I will definitely find her. Daniel usually didn't pay much attention to who Emma hung out with, so when he tried to find her friends to track her down, he hit a wall. The few friends he managed to find spoke to him with shocked and strange tones. You actually care about her? I thought Emma was in a one-sided unrequited love. Daniel hung up, feeling terrible. Although he had maintained the image of a good boyfriend over the years, his neglect of Emma was real. It was just that the old Emma loved him too much and never held it against him. Daniel searched like this for a week but found no trace of Emma. He drank every day, refusing even Ellis calls. He realized Emma must have known about his cheating for a long time, which was why she left so resolutely. But he didn't want to give up on Emma completely. Why couldn't Emma just listen to one more explanation? Depressed, Daniel finally received the latest news. Before vanishing, Emma had appeared at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Daniel rushed there frantically, but found no trace of Emma. The surveillance only showed Emma standing there for a long time before leaving without doing anything. A terrible thought rose in Daniel's heart. He used all his connections to investigate the whereabouts of the identity Emma, only to find that her household registration had been cancelled. In this world, the person Emma no longer existed. She could be so cruel as to disappear completely from his world. His vision blurred with moisture. Suddenly, Daniel remembered what Emma once told him. You are my only family. If you don't want me, I don't know where to go. At that time, Daniel approached her with an agenda. Her eyes looked like Ella, whom he had liked for a long time. She was an unwanted orphan, and she liked him. Such a person was too easy to control, so Daniel acted without fear, because no matter what he did, Emma would never leave him. But he didn't realize that over their long time together, he had long become inseparable from Emma too. Even if he vowed to his friends he had no other feelings for Emma, deep down he knew he wouldn't truly treat her badly. At least he would give her a better outcome. Emma. Daniel stumbled out of the bureau. He didn't even know how he got home, looking desolate, thinking constantly of Emma. In the end, he could only numb himself with alcohol. Every time in the past when he got drunk, Emma would gently make him hangover soup, wipe his body, change his clothes, and give him a kiss and a sweet goodnight. Now, he had nothing. I will definitely find you. Emma, don't think you can leave me. Thinking this, Ella suddenly called, Daniel, our baby is due in a few months. When are we getting married? Daniel rubbed his aching brow, lacking interest. Well, see, Emma is already gone. How long are you going to keep looking for her? Did you forget you said the person you love most is me? Being with Emma was just so you could legitimately marry me, right? Ella's voice was like a curse, reminding Daniel of his original intention. Yes, he treated Emma this way to gain the Hayes family power and marry his beloved Ella, right? But why did his heart still hurt so much? Just wait. Daniel brushed her off. Grandfather hasn't fully relented yet. Wait until I find Emma and settle everything at home. Without waiting for Ella's reply, he hung up directly. The days without contact with Emma were the hardest of his life. He constantly recalled his past with Emma. He couldn't understand had been so careful. Why did Emma know about his cheating? Daniel frowned as details he had ignored flooded his mind. Finally, he called his assistant. Check if Ella has contacted Emma. Daniel hung up, staring out the window for a long time. Emma, oh Emma, you are truly capable, but rest assured, I will never let go. Even if you flee to the ends of the earth, I will bring you back. While Daniel was searching to the point of madness, Emma lived a quiet and happy life in Finland, halfway across the globe. Emma, isn't it hard raising Vanessa alone? Don't you plan to find someone? Today she was dining with a Chinese couple. They were childless by choice but couldn't keep their hands off Vanessa. Learning Emma was a single mother, they felt pity for the pair. Emma sipped her homemade wine and replied, I have Vanessa. That's enough. The husband frowned. You're still young. Bringing a child to Finland alone is hard, and you have to educate the child. Finland's weather isn't really suitable for us Chinese. Well, see, Emma replied helplessly. She had considered everything they said. Since she became a full-time mom, people often tried to set her up because she was young and pretty. Emma rejected them all, but she couldn't stop her friends in Finland from worrying about her. Although it sounded pathetic, she hadn't moved on from the heartbreak Daniel caused. After all, she had truly loved that man during those times. The couple saw her irritation and stopped talking about it. They drank wine and chatted about everything else, never mentioning marriage again. Chinese New Year was a few days away. In previous years, she would be with Daniel discussing how to decorate the house, agonizing over even the placement of a potted plant. But Finns didn't celebrate Chinese New Year. The atmosphere was thin, with few red decorations on the street. Save for banners hung by the government and celebrations organized by the Chinese community, Emma lay quietly in bed, checking social media. The manager of the wedding planning company posted an annual summary. The wedding scene she had meticulously designed had been booked by someone else and unexpectedly became the most popular wedding theme in the city. Layers of green silk intertwined with white petals, like life blooming in early summer. She thought of Daniel again. The intensifying emotions killed her desire to keep reading. Fireworks burst outside the window at that moment. Looking out from her side, it felt incredibly lonely. Another firework bloomed, leaving only smoke. Look, this is Vanessa's second time seeing fireworks. Emma held Vanessa up to see the fireworks exploding in the sky. Vanessa was a little scared, but with encouragement, she bravely looked up. She had never seen fireworks fly so high and bloom so large. She was mesmerized. After the fireworks ended, she buried her head in Emma's shoulder, rubbing her forehead against Emma's neck. Is Mommy thinking about Daddy? No, Daddy went to a very faraway place. Vanessa looked at her mother's expression, somewhat unconvinced, but whatever Mommy said was true. She would never argue. Finally, she just nestled on her mother's shoulder and fell asleep. She didn't care about a daddy, she only needed Mommy. In the city, the end of the year approached. It was time for the Hayes family's annual worship. With a nervous heart, Daniel prepared an extra offering to visit Emma's parents, but when he arrived at the location in his memory, he was dumbfounded. The graves of Emma's parents had turned into an empty plot of land. Looking at the two vanished graves, Daniel rubbed his eyes in disbelief, but no matter how much he rubbed, the place where Emma's parents were buried remained flat ground. The bodyguards watched, dumbfounded, unsure of what had happened. They quickly dragged over the Hayes family cemetery keeper. Where are these two graves? Daniel asked sternly, a trace of imperceptible nervousness in his voice. Terrified, the keeper sobbed. Emma moved the graves over half a year ago. She said you agreed. I thought since you said Emma could do whatever she wanted in the Hayes family. I didn't tell you. Moved half a year ago. Daniel could only hear this sentence. He stepped back in disbelief, feeling struck by lightning, barely able to stand. Emma must have known long ago, which was why she was cruel enough to move her parents' graves. But at the time, he thought he had hidden it flawlessly. Just then, the person he sent to investigate Ella finally returned. Seeing the dejected Daniel, the man shrank his neck involuntarily. Taking out a stack of documents he found, Mr. Hayes, we found many records of MS. Ella contacting MS. Emma. Daniel's eyes widened. He immediately snatched the file. What he saw was shocking. The file was filled with chat logs, all containing Ella's provocations towards Emma. From sharp verbal insults to explicit intimate photos, complete with text, tearing apart his facade of devotion right in front of Emma. What chilled Daniel most was that this had been going on for a while. It was all Ella showing off one-sidedly. Emma hadn't replied once. If he were provoked like this by another man, he would be jealous and angry, throwing the evidence in his lover's face to demand answers. But Emma showed no abnormality during that time, like stagnant water, calm and rippleless. Thinking he had successfully hidden it from Emma, swimming effortlessly between two women, it turned out his Emma knew everything long ago. Watching his performance like a clown, Emma had planned everything unknowingly, even moving her parents' graves without his knowledge, disappearing completely from his sight along with all her information. The woman who used to be as docile as a rabbit and transparent as a sheet of paper had completely escaped his control, making his calculated schemes a joke. This wasn't right. Daniel tightened his grip on the documents, the pain in his heart becoming clearer. The two empty grave sites stared at him like soulless eyes. He remembered coming here to worship with Emma in previous years. He would always considerately hold the sorrowful girl in his arms. Emma, you still have me. I will take care of you for your parents, for a lifetime. Emma would always force a smile in response, relying on him wholeheartedly. But now, the person was gone. The graves were empty, and Daniel's arms were empty too. Daniel felt a sudden, immense panic. He had a premonition that this time, he might really lose Emma. No, Emma, you can't run. You are mine forever. Daniel turned and stepped out of the cemetery, barking orders at the subordinate who delivered the file, his tone radiating a chill that made people shudder. Where is Ella right now? Find her. The subordinate, trembling and walking on thin ice, said yes repeatedly and trotted after Daniel out of the cemetery. The keeper, who had kept his head down in fear, shivered in a gust of cold wind, wrapping his clothes tighter carefully. Only then did he dare to look up. It rained often in winter here, and heavy clouds had gathered in the calm sky. A storm was coming to the city. At this moment, Ella didn't know disaster was imminent. She had planned to gather with her sisters to celebrate driving Emma away, but a sudden downpour trapped her at home, so she started a live stream. Although Daniel's attitude toward Emma was unpredictable lately, previously at the Hayes estate, she had used her acting skills and the child in her belly to silence grandfather Hayes. Ella felt victory was within grasp. The position of young mistress of the Hayes family had to be hers. Feeling quite good, she put on exquisite makeup and started streaming. Since her debut, Ella's persona had always been the innocent girl next door. The prenatal checkup scandal had caused some negativity in tabloids, but she had long gained the blessings of the public and fans by paving the way with the story of her beautiful first love on social media. Thank you all for your blessings and concern. I am very well. Walking down the aisle with my first love is beautiful. I wish everyone can find their true love too. Ella acted sincere and moving, casually brushing her hair back multiple times to show off the pigeon egg diamond ring, causing envy and tears in the comments. Ella is pregnant. Why is she wearing makeup? Is it bad for the baby? Ella caught this comment. Her eyelid twitched, but she quickly feigned innocence. Makeup. Of course I can't wear makeup while pregnant. She didn't say it explicitly, but her diehard fans interpreted the deeper meaning, attacking the person who made the comment. If your eyes are broken, dig them out. Our Ella is barefaced. Okay, get lost. Anti-fan. My sister is naturally beautiful. Does she need makeup? Jealous that Ella has beauty and true love. Look in the mirror at your pig face. How dare you shade my sister? Ella was pleased with the fans' defense but put on an innocent face to mediate. Alright, don't fight over this. Peace, or I'll be sad. This garnered another round of adoration. Ella looked at the blessing comments but wasn't entirely happy. She touched her flat stomach. It was only a matter of time. As long as she pestered Daniel a few more times. Bang, the door was violently kicked open. Startled, Ella turned to look. It was Daniel, whom she had been thinking about. He stubbornly refused an umbrella, soaked through by the cold rain. He felt this was the punishment he deserved. This coldness on his body was nothing compared to the chill in Emma's heart. Honey, why are you here? Didn't you say you didn't want to show your face yet? Ella said this while subtly moving the camera toward Daniel, tall and handsome. Daniel immediately caused a stir. Viewer numbers skyrocketed. My sister is living the dream. Brother-in-law is so handsome. He looks a bit angry though. Watch your mouth. That's called being stoic. But he is handsome. Don't know who to envy more. Such a match. I ship this. Can't imagine how beautiful their kids will be. This handsome guy looks familiar. Feel like I've seen him in a magazine. Damn. Isn't that the heir to Hayes Corp? A real tycoon. Daniel's identity sparked heated discussion. Ella was triumphant. Her position seemed even more secure. Ella trotted over. Oh my, you're so wet. How do you work? Letting him get wet. She scolded the people behind Daniel, reaching out lovingly to wipe the rain from his face. Daniel dodged her hand and pushed her away. Ella sensed something was wrong. Since entering, he hadn't been intimate as usual. Instead, he radiated coldness, looking at her like a stranger. Ella finally felt uneasy, feeling anxious. She turned playfully to the camera. Sorry guys, your brother-in-law is camera shy. I'm signing off. Keep his identity secret. Ella tried to end the stream, but one of Daniel's men snatched her phone. What are you doing? Ella tried to grab it back but was pinned by the shoulders by two other men and forced to kneel. Ella hadn't expected this. She looked at the impassive Daniel in confusion. Daniel, what are they doing? Why treat me like this? Stop them. Slap. Silent. Daniel stepped forward and slapped Ella hard. Ella screamed as half her face swelled rapidly. The camera, directed by Daniel, pointed right at Ella. Her humiliation was broadcast across all platforms. Everyone was stunned. It took Ella a while to recover. She struggled in vain. Daniel, what are you doing? What did I do wrong? Outside, rain poured. Daniel's face was gloomier than the weather. Bitch, you know what you did, he shouted deeply. The drama drew more viewers. The screen filled with comments. Whoa, what's happening? The CP I just shipped is dead. What did Ella do to make Mr. Hayes so angry he's tearing her apart? Ella couldn't care about face anymore. Hearing Daniel, her heart jumped. Did that secret get exposed? She knew Daniel's temper well. The consequences of deceiving him were unimaginable. Before she could think of a way out, Daniel slammed papers into her face, still pretending. Open your eyes and look. Ella almost couldn't breathe. When Daniel let go, her makeup was smeared onto the paper. The audience went wild. Ha ha ha. Who said naturally beautiful? What are those colors on the paper? Fans, explain please. Damn, acting like a pure bunny, wearing makeup while pregnant, looking for death. Look at the papers. Explicit photos. This tea is getting hot. Daniel forced her head down to look at the chat logs. Ella, is your brain flooded? I said I'd give you whatever you want, but you had to wait. Did you think I was joking? Ella never expected Daniel to find these logs, nor that he would turn on her for Emma. Tears streaming, she cried and lied. No, no, Daniel, listen, these are forged. They want to ruin us. You know I have many haters. They'd do anything. Ella used to be unpopular, attracting cyberbullying. Daniel had felt sorry for her and handled it. She brought it up now, hoping for pity, but those things were online. Ella was never physically harmed, but Emma, from the first taunting message, how heartbroken must she have been? How desperate were those days she pretended nothing was wrong? Thinking of this, Daniel's heart felt cut by knives. He scoffed, slapped Ella again, and threw the evidence in her face. Idiot. The number sending messages is registered to your ID. You think I'm so good-tempered you can tell such lies? Sorry, Daniel. I just love you too much. I couldn't stand her hogging you. I did it all for you. Daniel laughed in anger. Death wish. Trying to pin this on me. Ella shook, makeup ruined, looking wretched. She had never been treated this way. She chewed her tongue trying to find an escape. Daniel, yes, I did it. So what? She took advantage of my absence to steal you with a face like mine. Shouldn't I be angry? The comments stirred again. Whoa, twist. Thought it was mistress versus wife. Turns out it's substitute versus first love. And the first love came back. Feel kinda sorry for Ella. Damn. I hate substitute tropes. Boo-hoo. Knew Ella was a good girl. What's wrong with this Hayes guy? Bullying my sister for a substitute. Call the police. Someone save Ella. Ella. Emma. How many are there? I'm confused. Daniel squatted, gripping Ella's chin, forcing her to look at him. The eyes he once inexplicably pitted now looked detestable. I never thought you'd become like this. Acting so pure in front of me, yet so disgusting to Emma. Without you, Emma and I would be married, and I'd have inherited the family business. Emma and I are connected by fate. We are the closest people in the world. You, Ella, are nothing. Ella was terrified but tried for a lifeline. Connected. When we were in bed, you said you loved me and would marry me. Was that fake? Before? No, Daniel sneered. But now, do you deserve my love? Daniel showed no mercy, shoving Ella away. Since he dared to expose Ella live, he was prepared. At a glance, the subordinate holding the phone knew what to do. He posted a link in the comments containing Daniel and Emma's loving past over the years, including his high-profile declarations of love in financial magazines and the secret wedding of the century setup that had stunned the city. Ella's fans who insulted Emma were instantly banned. The onlookers were shocked again. Zero reversals here. They were getting married way before Ella came back. A mistress is a mistress. Deserved. Great acting. Almost fooled me. Shameless. But Daniel isn't innocent either. Cheating and acting righteous. Fans still holding on. Doesn't change the fact your sister is a homewrecker. The internet exploded. The backlash against Ella grew. Brands disowned her. Fan clubs dissolved. Her innocent image collapsed. She became a pariah overnight. Ella's face was streaked with tears. She regretted her impatience, watching everything slip away. She knew her reputation was gone, but she had one last lifeline. She wailed, begging Daniel, Daniel, I was wrong. Do whatever to me, but spare the child. Once the baby is born, it'll disappear. He is innocent. Ella acted pitiful, still calculating inside. She remembered Daniel's joy when he heard she was pregnant. Using the child as leverage, he would spare her. There's always a way out. She'd find a way to win him back. But Daniel didn't react as expected. He remained cold as rock. This anomaly terrified Ella. Only Emma is worthy of bearing my children. Daniel kicked her to the ground. Ella was in pain, but despair hurt more. It was over. Take her to the hospital. I don't want to see her or the bastard in her belly. Daniel ordered sharply, filled with terror and regret. She cried and begged, but Daniel, once tender, showed no softness. She never understood this man. She overestimated her importance. She was just a whim to him. Subordinates dragged Ella out. Her struggles were futile. Daniel stood in the quiet room, feeling hollow. What was the point? His Emma wasn't here. The livestream was still on. Viewers at a peak. Daniel took the phone, his face full of grief and regret. He confessed deeply to the camera. Emma, are you watching? I was wrong. Will you forgive me? I see my heart now. I only love you. Come back to me, please. He recorded this and pushed it to every video portal worldwide, hoping one day, Emma would see it, understand his love, and return. Daniel made such a scene that Emma, on the other side of the world, inevitably saw the news. She scrolled to the end, seeing Ella's fate. She felt nothing. Seeing Daniel's confession, she found it laughable. Did he love her? Not really, just someone wanting his cake and eating it too. When the cake was taken, and the crumbs didn't taste as good, he felt unwilling and resentful. Emma turned off her phone, wrapping her scarf to hide her face, her eyes following the skipping Vanessa ahead. She spent the day with Vanessa in Chinatown, letting the child feel the Chinese New Year atmosphere. The child found everything new: sugar paintings, paper cuts, lanterns filled her hands. Emma wanted to warn her about cavities, but the pretty girl pouted, and her heart melted. She let her eat whatever treats they passed. Vanessa was happy, running ahead in festive red clothes. Emma watched with helpless affection, focused on Vanessa. She bumped into someone. Emma apologized quickly, picking up the dropped item. It was a kind-looking old man with a red scarf. He chuckled, not blaming her, and took out a red envelope, bumping into joy on New Year's. Good luck to you. Emma accepted it, watching him leave. His shambling gait reminded her of Grandfather Hayes. How was he? She left everything behind, only worrying about the grandfather who treated her like kin. In past years, she spent New Year's at the Hayes estate with him. Grandfather Hayes was old. The early deaths of his son and daughter-in-law aged his heart. He often stood in the courtyard with his cane, looking lonely. Only when Daniel brought Emma back did he seem less lonely. But recently, 8 out of 10 times, Daniel would leave late at night for gatherings or business. Thinking back, he was meeting Ella. Emma rubbed her temples, annoyed at recalling those ugly memories. Since she decided to cut off the past, she should look forward. Smiling, she turned her gentle gaze to little Vanessa in the crowd. Grandfather Hayes watched Daniel's masterpiece, face red with anger. Throwing his cane down, he ordered someone to call his unfilial grandson, scolding him sternly. His voice terrified everyone in the house. Daniel, look what you've done. I taught you to think thrice. Did you listen to nothing? Daniel was in his private hospital, watching coldly as Ella struggled on the operating table. Grandfather, I'm lucid. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry. This is just step 1 to winning Emma back. Lucid my ass. Look at public opinion. Look at the stock market. There were better ways. Why choose this? Daniel held back his interruption, suppressing his own anger. Does that matter? I don't care if I lose everything. Only this way will Emma see my apology and maybe return. Grandfather, I won't spare anyone who hurt Emma. I will win her back. I will find her. Grandfather Hayes laughed coldly. Is step 2 you dying to show sincerity? Aren't you the one who hurt her deepest? Silence on the phone. Then, my life belongs to her. If Emma wants it, I'll die. Grandfather Hayes sighed long. After a standoff, he spoke. Your life is your business, but dragging that woman for an abortion is wrong. Whatever you hate, that's an innocent life. Weigh it yourself. Daniel looked at Ella, facial features twisted in struggle, his resolve set. I only want Emma's child, don't you? Once I find Emma, we'll be a happy family. Not waiting for a reply, he hung up and entered the operating room. Ella watched Daniel approach like the Reaper, radiating malice. Her terror grew. She begged hoarsely, Daniel, Mr. Hayes, spare me. I know I was wrong. I won't dare again. I'll kowtow to Emma. Okay. The doctor, under orders, lifted Ella's shirt and put the ultrasound probe on her belly. Ella used all her strength to dodge like a fish. Get off me. Daniel, did you forget? You were happy the day you knew about this baby. You are his father. Why so cruel? Daniel's face was cold, his smile not reaching his eyes. I humor you once, and you take it for real. Several people restrained Ella tighter for the doctor. Ella had no room left. She closed her eyes in despair. The lead surgeon arrived late. He used to be the Hayes family doctor, obedient and unquestioning, but seeing a patient who missed her post-abortion checkup, he had to ask the family, Mr. Hayes, how is MS? Emma's health. Was the fetus saved? Daniel suddenly panicked, wet clothes pressing down on him, voice trembling. He asked, what did you say? What fetus? The doctor was surprised by the reaction, realizing he slipped up, but had to tell the truth. Emma, when she fainted at home last time, I found she was pregnant but showed signs of miscarriage. I gave her progesterone. Did she rest well at home? Daniel felt the world spin, darkness clouding his vision. Emma, pregnant, saving the baby. Memories flashed. He remembered Emma was hospitalized then. She said it was just stomach trouble lightly, but now details made sense. But he was busy fooling around with Ella, not caring a bit about Emma. So, their child truly existed briefly. Daniel felt piercing pain, clutching his chest. He managed to speak. Get her medical records. The doctor hesitated but obeyed. Daniel's wet clothes dripped. He opened his hand, looked at the water, and laughed self-deprecatingly. Too childish. Thinking standing in rain was punishment. Emma pregnant alone, trying to save the baby, suffering thousands of times more than him. No wonder his Emma left. She was truly disappointed, overcome with grief. Daniel glanced at the medical tray, grabbed surgical scissors, and stabbed his palm hard. Mr. Hayes. This shocked everyone. Ignoring Ella, they rushed to stop him. Ella tried to crawl away in the chaos but was kicked back by Daniel. Leave me. Hold this woman down. Get other doctors. Ella's escape failed. She screamed as she was pinned again. The ultrasound doctor dared not delay. Daniel was annoyed by Ella's voice. With his bleeding hand, he covered her mouth. One more noise. It won't be just an abortion, he threatened, eyes cold as a snake. Emma left with my child. Why should yours live? Thinking of the love words he said to this disgusting woman, he felt sick. The doctor checked the image repeatedly, hesitating. Mr. Hayes, there's no sign of implantation. Daniel was confused. Meaning, she isn't pregnant at all, the doctor finished. Ella lost her chance to turn things around and closed her eyes in despair. Thunder exploded. Daniel's face turned black. No seed in the belly, but plenty of guts. Daniel laughed. Daring to fake a pregnancy to trick me. Ella didn't dare open her eyes. Sobbing wordlessly, Daniel laughed in extreme anger, moving his hand to her neck, choking her. So you really want to die? Guess I have to oblige. He, so arrogant, played by this slut, losing the woman he loved most. How could Daniel not be furious? Ella turned purple. Just before suffocation, the doctor returned with records. Daniel let go, snatching the records. Looking at the timeline, his mind raced. He turned back to the coughing Ella, eyes wishing to flay her. The day Emma was hospitalized, he was with Ella. Ella then sent a video to Emma gloating. That must be when Emma was affected. And he, unaware of the child, would never see it. Just a little more, and he and Emma would have had a complete family. Who destroyed it? That child. Would Emma cruelly abort it? Veins popped on Daniel's forehead. He roared, dragging Ella to the floor. Subordinates and doctors retreated wisely. Bitch, look what you did. You ruined everything. He focused his rage into his fists, venting on the curled-up Ella. At this point, Ella was less afraid, dodging blows. She screamed, Daniel, it takes two to tango. You didn't dare admit you loved Emma, treating people like fools. Why blame it all on me? Even Ella saw his heart clearer than him. Listening, Daniel thought of his past with Emma. He acted deep in love with ease, never realizing that care and tenderness came from the heart. Why realize only after losing? Daniel felt his heart roasting. He stopped, squatting to grab Ella's hair, forcing eye contact. You're right, I'm at fault. Daniel smiled terrifyingly. I deserve to die, but you're coming with me. Ella, you will pay for my child with your life. He slammed Ella's head on the floor repeatedly until her face was covered in blood. Ella wailed, unable to resist, covering her prized face. As long as the face remained, she could survive anywhere. Daniel didn't know her thoughts, just feeling it wasn't enough to pay for Emma's heartbreak and the lost child. He ordered men to force Ella to kneel and kowtow 100 times to the camera, forcing her to apologize and curse herself. When Emma returns, he'll show her this. Watching the recording, Daniel noticed Ella still wore the ring he gave her. Ella wore it daily, flaunting her status. She sent it to Emma too. Was that the last straw? Daniel grabbed her hand to take the ring. Bitch, you don't deserve this, he thought. Taking it back meant retracting the proposal. His only true love was Emma, but Ella resisted, clenching her fist shamelessly. It's mine, don't rob me. Ella revealed her true colors. She lost everything: wealth, fame, contracts, maybe her life. But if she survived, she needed this $1 million ring. She had to keep it. The room was small. Ella, battered, tried to hide in corners. Daniel didn't stop her, watching this woman's ugly state coldly, like wearing it. He curled his lips, calling his men. Cut off the finger with the ring, Daniel ordered coldly. Daniel sat outside the operating room, zoning out. His stabbed hand was bandaged by a doctor who couldn't watch anymore. Screams from inside were piercing. Luckily, this floor was a VIP zone for the Hayes family. He sat there thinking about meeting Emma, their youth, everything about her. His heart felt unbearably empty. The unfillable longing and desire tortured him like poison. Sorry, Emma, I miss you. I love you. The arrogant heir cried pitifully like a coward, like a child denied candy, lacking dignity. When he was little, he cried, because he was Daniel, the heir. No one comforted him. Only Emma wasn't afraid. She would hug him, coaxing him like an adult, soft as cotton, until someone presented the ring on a tray, with a bloody finger beside it. Daniel snapped out of his nostalgia. He didn't care about the tainted ring, telling them to handle it. As for the finger, Daniel was cold. Feed it to the dogs. And, Mr. Hayes, the woman, the subordinate, witnessing the employer's cruelty today, dared not speak much. Pointing at the unconscious Ella, Daniel scoffed. Standing up, perform a little brain surgery on her, lock her in a mental asylum. Emma vanished. There need be no trace of Ella in the world either. Ella was a public figure. Since the stream, people watched the hospital. Media blocked the entrance. Daniel glanced at the black crowd and left via the hidden VIP exit. Back at the estate, Grandfather Hayes Kane greeted him. One strike forced Daniel to his knees. Animal, look at you. What unconscionable things did you do? Daniel looked like a criminal in blood and rain. Grandfather, Ella isn't dead, and not pregnant. Daniel was exhausted. Grandfather Hayes relaxed. He feared his grandson had gone past the point of no return. Since he didn't ask more, only sighing. Are you satisfied? Was this for Emma or your own guilt? Daniel didn't answer directly, muttering like a fool. Grandfather, I finally know. I love Emma. I love Emma. As long as she comes back, I'll do anything. The grandfather touched his forehead. High fever. He closed his eyes, ordering men to carry the delirious Daniel to his room. Watching Daniel stagger away, his heart was mixed. Emma, if Daniel hurt you that deep, cutting ties is fine, but my grandson, realizing his love so late, will probably spend a long time repenting. Grandfather Hayes leaned on his cane in sorrow. Did he have unforgivable faults too? If he hadn't made marrying Emma a condition for inheritance, would Daniel have strayed? Would a bad fate have been good? Alas, no ifs. The Hayes family owed Emma. Grandfather Hayes felt ashamed, burying his face in his hands. Daniel burned with fever for 3 days, calling Emma's nickname in his stupor. Emma, Emma, he dreamed repeatedly. Only him and Emma, childhood sweethearts, marrying, having a cute child, happy until death. But waking up, it was all bubbles. He couldn't bear to let go of the fake dream. He violently resisted treatment, refused food and medicine, trapping himself in hallucinations. Only then did he feel alive. Doctors had to keep him alive with IVs under Grandfather Hayes' orders. This ghost-like state lasted a month until Grandfather Hayes ended it. On a lucid day, one sentence made him accept treatment. If you don't plan to live, you give up hope of seeing Emma again. From then on, Daniel ate, cooperated, and recovered. The Ella incident impacted Hayes Corp negatively. Daniel returned to work, working intensely to minimize the damage. After solving everything, Daniel felt hollowed out. Now he knew how ridiculous his actions were. He failed Emma in every way, so let alone winning her back, he couldn't even find her shadow. Daniel's friends watched him waste away. They started helping him look like guests on a missing persons show, but they didn't know the agent who helped Emma had quit to travel the world. All records were destroyed. Daniel would never find her. I was really wrong. I thought I loved Ella, but Emma broke into my heart. And only when she left without hesitation did I know how important she was. I'm an idiot. She planned leaving for so long, and I noticed nothing. Daniel chugged a bottle of wine. His friend stared, daring not stop him, finally saying, let's wait. I think Emma can't forget you. No, if she still loved me, she'd be back. Daniel threw the bottle off the cliff, looking into the abyss. If I jump, will I see her? The friend was scared, pulling him back. He knew Daniel's mental state was bad. He might actually jump. Watching his best friend like this hurt, but he couldn't do anything but remind Daniel, when sober, that Emma was gone, either abroad or dead. But Daniel wouldn't listen. Tonight, racing up the cliff, he got drunk again. Go back. Don't persuade me. I won't die. Daniel laughed bitterly, but as he finished, the world spun. He tottered, about to faint. Daniel, the friend caught him. Based on his drinking, Daniel probably had gastric bleeding. He dragged him to the hospital. Even on the way, Daniel called Emma's name. The friend gritted his teeth. You reap what you sow. He was the only one who told Daniel to cherish her. Daniel ignored him. Now his fears came true. He felt bad but also felt Daniel deserved it. Daniel was diagnosed with gastric bleeding. The doctor admitted him. He teared up inexplicably. Once I drank till I bled too. Nearly fainted in the bathroom. Emma took me to the hospital. Daniel recalled tiny Emma dragging 100+ pound him, rushing him to the hospital. Next morning, she made warm porridge. Back then, he complained it was too mushy. Now, he couldn't even recall the taste. Uncomfortable, Daniel turned to the window. This glance stopped his heart. In the long hospital corridor, a figure he missed dearly appeared, heart and throat. Daniel croaked, "Emma," throwing off covers, pulling out the 4. He rushed out, checking again. He wasn't wrong. The woman holding a girl was Emma, 3 years unseen. She was thin as before. The weight he helped her gain was gone. But, who was the girl? Daniel held his breath, approaching slowly, sensing someone. Emma turned, smiling politely. "Dr. Lee, you're back." She froze mid-sentence. "Days ago, Vanessa got sick. Medicine didn't help. Doctors suggested Chinese medicine back home." Emma hesitated but chose to return for Vanessa's sake. She thought she might meet Daniel, but not this fast. In the corridor, they stared silently. Emma's decisive departure and his lack of a goodbye were thorns spanning 3 years. One lived freely, one struggled in pain, but Daniel deserved it. "Mommy, who is this uncle? He's scary." Vanessa broke the awkward silence. Emma snapped back, telling Vanessa, "Mommy doesn't know him." "Mommy." Daniel savored those words in disbelief. This girl was Emma's daughter, but she looked 3 years ago was when she left. Daniel's heart raced. Maybe the abortion record was a trick. Maybe Emma didn't miscarry. This girl was their daughter. "Emma, you disappeared for 3 years to give birth to my daughter." Daniel missed Emma's confused look, running to hug her tightly. "I knew you loved me most. Couldn't bear to leave me. You missed me too. So you came back, right?" "No, Daniel, let go." Emma struggled uselessly. Daniel missed her too much. Using all his strength, Vanessa was squished, face red. Emma looked at the bull like Daniel, wanting to curse. What was wrong with him? 3 years ago, he didn't care, using her as a stepping stone for him and Ella, trampling her heart. Why act like he missed her now? But one misunderstanding had to be cleared. "Vanessa isn't your daughter." Emma found a chance to breathe, dodging with Vanessa, explaining, "She has nothing to do with you. Don't flatter yourself." "Impossible." Daniel's voice rose. He didn't believe Emma had a child with someone else. "When you were little, your hair was yellow too. She looks just like you." Emma didn't see the resemblance, but explained patiently, "If you don't believe it, we can do a DNA test." Willing to do a test meant the child really wasn't his. Daniel looked at Emma in disbelief, tears spilling. "How could you have a child with someone else? So the first betrayer was you." Before Emma could react, his mind jumped back 3 years. She stopped enduring, sneering. "What? Didn't Ella have your child? That kid must be 3 too. Why fight me for mine?" "No," Daniel explained frantically. "Ella wasn't pregnant. She tricked me." So Ella was never pregnant. She hadn't expected that, but that made it even more ridiculous. Daniel was willing to abandon their relationship 3 years ago for a laughable lie. No matter how you looked at it, Daniel didn't deserve forgiveness. Seeing him like this, Emma didn't bother talking. Holding Vanessa, she threw off Daniel's hand and walked away. Daniel stared, wanting to chase, but his stomach churned. "Emma, my stomach hurts." He clutched his stomach, voice soft, thinking Emma would look back in pity like before, but she didn't. She walked forward with Vanessa, never looking back. She returned only for Vanessa's health. After getting a month of medicine, she planned to visit her parents' graves and return to Finland. Holding her daughter's hand, walking up the small hill, she told her parents many things. That she and Daniel were truly over. That she had a cute daughter. Just as she was leaving, 2 figures appeared behind her. Before Emma could react, Grandfather Hayes, teary-eyed, walked toward her unsteadily. "Emma, grandfather missed you." Looking at the aged Mr. Hayes, Emma hesitated but chose to support him. "Emma, where did you go these years?" The old man treated her like kin. Hearing his aged voice, Emma teared up. "After sending Mom and Dad back to the hometown, I went abroad." Grandfather Hayes was silent, then sighed. "The Hayes family failed you. And your parents." Emma smiled bitterly. "What's the point of saying this now?" Silence again. Finally, Grandfather Hayes tested the waters. Daniel broke it off with Ella. "Listen to grandfather. Forgive him once." "Okay." "Impossible." "Why?" Grandfather Hayes frowned. "As long as you produce an heir, everything in the Hayes family is yours." Daniel, standing silently aside, looked expectantly at Emma. 3 years ago, he tricked her for the inheritance. Now he was willing to give it all to her, not caring if she had a child with another. Surely she would come back. The Hayes business was worth billions now. A huge temptation, but Emma was unmoved, because she couldn't have children anymore. Hiding it for so long, Emma felt it was time to tell the truth. She found the report saved for 3 years on her phone and placed it before them. "I miscarried, the eve of our wedding." Grandfather Hayes turned pale. Daniel's eyes widened. He rushed over, staring at the report in disbelief. When was this? How did I not know such a big thing? Why didn't you tell me? Grandfather Hayes, Reed, pointed at him. You bastard. Explain yourself. I didn't know. Daniel grabbed Emma crazily, choking up. Why didn't you tell me? Emma pulled her lips, tears leaking out. The night of the miscarriage. I called you 18 times. You answered the 19th. Remember what you said. You told me not to be noisy. You were busy. Emma looked at him calmly, mocking herself. You were busy accompanying Ella to her checkup. Right. Quite the playboy. Having 2 women pregnant at once. Proud of yourself, Daniel. The air on the hill froze. Finally, Grandfather Hayes wailed, stumbling backward. Everyone snapped out of it. Grandfather. Daniel supported him, roaring at Emma. Emma, why bring this up so suddenly? Trying to kill him. Bastard. Shut up. Grandfather Hayes steadied himself. An old man crying like a child. Emma, the Hayes family owes you. Give us a chance to compensate. But my child won't come back. Speaking of the child, Emma choked up. Before she continued, she heard Daniel. We will have more children. I wronged you this time. I won't ever again. Okay, I admit I was wrong. I believe you can't let go of our feelings. Consider it again. I'll wait for you. This was the first time Daniel showed weakness to Emma. She was momentarily lost. Sensing her confusion, Daniel pressed on. You once said you'd help realize all my wishes. My wish is for you to forgive me and be with me. Please help me realize it. Okay. This was their promise when they first got together. Daniel remembered. Emma remembered. But this time, she would break her promise. Emma looked at him, smiling with relief. You lied to me enough times. Let me lie to you this once. I will never have a future with you again, Emma said firmly to his face. She didn't return to see Daniel or rekindle anything. If they hadn't found her, she wouldn't have even told them about the pregnancy. Emma left resolutely. Her words were clear, giving Daniel no hope. More than a decade of memories cancelled out here. Before boarding the plane again, Emma remembered Daniel saying he'd take her around the world. In the end, they never went, because in his eyes, the only person worth traveling miles for was Ella, not her. Emma, just before boarding, Emma's new number received a call. It was likely Daniel finding it through connections. She hesitated but answered. Daniel was drunk. Disbelieving, she picked up. Your phone finally connects. Daniel cried tremulously. Can you love me one more time? Emma said nothing, letting him beg, until boarding time was nearly up. Emma said, there is no possibility between us anymore. She prepared to hang up. Emma, don't leave me, please, Daniel screamed. In his agitation, he vomited loudly. Emma didn't want to say another word. She hung up directly. Those 10+ years, consider them fed to the dogs. She wanted nothing to do with Daniel Hayes ever again. Daniel first met Emma on an evening when he was 5. A soft little girl suddenly barged into his world, looking at him with innocent doe eyes, timidly calling him young master. His parents died early. No one gave him family warmth, but the new couple and the little girl gave him feelings he never had, though he and the parents were master and servant. In his heart, they were no different from parents, especially their daughter, soft Emma, calling him brother sweetly, looking at him with timidity. She was like a new toy Daniel had to show off to everyone. Everyone thought Daniel would get bored soon. Even Emma thought so, but accidents happen. When he fell into the water, Emma's parents drowned, saving him. That was the first time he saw Emma cry so miserably, her pale face covered in tears, looking like she'd die of crying. Freshly rescued, Daniel went to apologize guiltily. Emotional Emma hit and kicked him, crying and asking why it wasn't Daniel who died. Servants covered her mouth nervously. Daniel felt so bad he cried too. 2 10-year-olds cried by the river until Emma fainted and was sent to the hospital. Because of her parents' death, Emma suffered a lot. She had nightmares of her parents in the river, unable to reach them. Waking to see Daniel, she cried harder. Daniel felt terrible too, finally acting human, like on TV. He held Emma's hand and coaxed. Sorry, it'll be your only family from now on. Said enough times, they both believed it. Daniel didn't plan to be with Emma initially, but undeniably, every part of his life involved her. When he almost got caught dating early in middle school, Emma covered for him. When forced to choose a major he disliked, Emma convinced Grandfather Hayes to let him study his beloved philosophy. Even when he fell for Ella in college, Emma wrote the love letters, though she didn't know. He was glad she didn't know. Otherwise, when Grandfather demanded he marry Emma for the inheritance, he would have been dizzy. But he discovered Emma liked him. Emma obeyed him these years, though she was quiet. He saw her heart. This made it easy. In a month, he pried open her heart, the night he confessed. Amidst fireworks, Emma's eyes were brighter than the explosions. She hugged Daniel excitedly. Daniel, I knew we'd be together forever. We share one life. Daniel just wanted to complete his conquest mission. But hearing this, he couldn't help kissing her. Soft, sweet, very kissable, but a trace of bitterness spread. He attributed it to betraying his promise to Ella, so he ignored it. I'll compensate Ella when I get the inheritance, Daniel thought. After getting together, their relationship went unbelievably smoothly. Emma accommodated him in everything, speaking gently. Before he spoke, she guessed his thoughts. Their scary compatibility made Daniel used to her presence. Sometimes, if Ella didn't call, he almost forgot her. After 3 years, they got engaged and planned to marry. He thought the wedding would happen, but Ella found out and threw a tantrum. Daniel had to fly overseas to coax her. Unexpectedly, Ella couldn't wait and followed him back immediately. Daniel felt inexplicable irritation then but ignored the growing unease. Later, Ella said she was pregnant. Surprised and happy, looking at the report, the first face he thought of was Emma's. In their intimacy, they mentioned children often. Grandfather said he and Emma must have a boy for him to hand over the business safely. Now, before marriage, Ella was pregnant. Daniel was happy yet guilty. He maximized the wedding budget while dealing with Ella. After much thought, despite some reluctance, he decided to stick to the plan. Marry Emma, have a child quickly, then explain everything, compensate her, and let her live comfortably, until the eve of the wedding. This was Daniel's plan. He thought it was flawless, good for everyone, but he never thought Emma would quit. Running to their new happiness with a bouquet, friends told him the wedding was cancelled. Impossible. Daniel didn't believe it, but arriving at the venue, seeing another couple exchanging rings in the place Emma booked, he panicked. He searched everywhere but couldn't find her. He wondered when she planned this and why he knew nothing. Daniel thought day and night, tormented. Only when Emma left did he realize how important she was. Tragically, he found out the child Ella used to threaten him never existed. Ella wasn't pregnant. Somehow, besides the pain of deception, Daniel sighed in relief. At least he could wait for Emma completely, even if she didn't want to see him. Long after everything was out in the open, Daniel realized Emma's irreplaceability more. He had unwittingly fallen for the gentle girl long ago. He was just immature and lost her. Daniel often reflected. Whenever he got drunk, Emma was no longer there to care for him or hand him soup. Drunk or sober, it was empty around him. Only air accompanied him. Emma, actually, I fell in love with you long ago. Daniel chugged a bottle, drunk, talking to the air. As he spoke, tears suddenly flowed. His realization came too late. Too late. Emma was gone. She would never return. And she would never know that Daniel's love had always been in the early summer.